Lielsan Chimanyawu Kachamalea to Itaiwai. Hi everyone, welcome back. So today, November 4th, marks the birthday of Will Rogers, a Cherokee citizen, actor, and humorist once called Oklahoma's favorite son. He made millions laugh, but his story, like many in our history, is complex. Today we're going to remember both his brilliance and his flaws, honoring the truth in full. This is Remembering Will Rogers, a complicated legacy from the Cherokee Nation. Today marks the birthday of William Penn Adair Rogers, born November 4th, 1879, in the Cherokee Nation near present-day Uluga, Oklahoma, known to most Americans as Oklahoma's favorite son and the Cherokee Kid. Will Rogers rose from a ranch in Indian Territory to become one of the most beloved entertainers of the early 20th century in vaudeville performer, actor, columnist, and political humorist whose voice reached millions during the Great Depression. Rogers' parents, Clement Van Rogers and Mary America Shrimshire, were both citizens of the Cherokee Nation. His father, Clement, was a successful rancher and a delegate to the Oklahoma Constitutional Convention, but also a Confederate officer during the American Civil War. While his service is a matter of historical record, Itom Jiawai Reports does not condone or celebrate any association with the Confederate Army or its role in upholding slavery and violence against Native and Black peoples. Despite his father's Confederate past, Will Rogers' own life reflected the complex story of Native people navigating the rapidly changing world of early America. As a Cherokee citizen, he was part of a generation that lived through the final years of Indian Territory before Oklahoma statehood. When many tribal governments were being dissolved and their lands divided by federal policy, Rogers went on to travel the world 3 times, act in over 70 films, and publish more than 4,000 nationally syndicated columns. His sharp political wit and down-to-earth humor made him one of the most recognized figures in early Hollywood. His famous saying, "I never met a man I didn't like," captured his belief in humility and kindness, though history reminds us that his work is not without controversy. In 1934, Rogers faced backlash for using racial slurs on air, sparking outrage among black audiences and civil rights leaders. While he later offered a qualified apology, the incident remains a stain on his legacy, one that reflects the racist language and normalized discrimination of his era. Still, Will Rogers' story is one of indigenous visibility at a time when Native representation in mainstream media was almost non-existent. As a Cherokee citizen performing on some of the world's biggest stages, he bridged the gap between frontier identity and modern America, showing that Native people could speak for themselves in the national conversation, even as colonial systems continued to silence indigenous nations. Rogers died tragically in 1935 alongside aviator Wiley Post when their small plane crashed near Point Barrow, Alaska. His body was later reinterred in Claremore, Oklahoma at the Will Rogers Memorial Museum, which remains a site both of celebration and reflection. Today, on what would have been his 146th birthday, we remember Will Rogers not just for his fame, but for the fuller truth, as a Cherokee man shaped by both humor and contradiction. Raised in the shadow of the Confederacy, yet remembered as one of the most recognizable Native voices in early American media. Itom Jiawai Reports acknowledges the history with honesty, clarity, and respect, honoring the Cherokee Nation's enduring presence while rejecting the harmful legacies that also shaped this story. Will Rogers once said, "I never met a man I didn't like." Today we remember that saying and challenge ourselves to build a world where our humor and humanity walk together with respect. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Chukula.